We're doing this live. Here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of PlungeCast. This is the PG version, not the Plunge X, which we did yesterday with Nicole, which was a bit to do with mature creations and artwork. This one's for everybody, so you don't have to be afraid of having your kids watch this, or grandma or whatever, looking over your shoulder, wondering what's that crazy artwork. But this is amazing, and I'm so excited to have Anthony Christou, to join me with today from all the way from Adelaide, Australia. Now that's in the west, isn't it? The desert place, right?
It's actually more South Australia. It's South Australia, so south. Yeah.
Oh, weird. I thought it was like Adelaide fell over on the gold mine area. Am I right there, or?
No. It's south center of Australia, so bottom of Ayers Rock. So you got Ayers Rock in the middle, and you keep on going down. I'm right down the bottom. So yeah.
Real. So a lot of people from around the world wouldn't know, but we consider the Australians our cousins because they're just across the ditch. Most of us in New Zealand actually have family that lives over in Australia. I have two brothers. My sister's just migrated to Australia. The better life, the better pay, and so on. But of course, there is this art community that's risen up due to Kickstarter, and has allowed people to actually go independent and actually do something and create intellectual property, as we say, artwork that's their own, characters of their own, worlds that they build that's their own. So they can do whatever they want with it and do some amazing, crazy things. And I'm looking at this project here. Now, is that Cobaloy?
Awesome. Greek.
Yeah, and before anybody says anything, this is not AI art. This is actual traditional artwork. So I'm going to let Anthony talk about what he's done, a bit about himself, and then we'll go on from there with the question and answers and whatever else you guys want to throw at us. If you're joining us, throw us questions, comments, whatever, and we'll try to get it. I'll try to answer if it's aimed at me, and I'll get Anthony to answer if it's aimed at him. Thank you, guys, and take it away, Anthony.
Yep. So I've created a series called Luminous Ages. It's a fantasy comic book series. It's about a planet where dream magic is very real, and things can manifest into reality very quickly. So there's captivaries, there's luminaries, there's three types of wizards. And they can draw and basically capture an enemy on a page, hence the name captivary. Or the luminaries can do the opposite, where they draw and bring something to life. So imagine a whole universe like that, where captivaries and luminaries can do stuff. So yeah, and that's basically what Luminous Ages is all about. There's more to it. We're now into the fourth book, so we've run like 4 Kickstarters. 4 books have come out. We've run about 19 Kickstarters with dice and other merchandise, products, gaming mats. We've run our own card game as well. There's actually a card game in the series. I can show you, this is the first graphic novel. So that's one of.
Let me just put you on full. Give me one sec.
Yeah. That's the full graphic novel. You can see it's got gorgeous artwork like that. So if you're a big fantasy fan, you love fantasy and mythology, you're going to love this. Like I said, 13 gods, 9 of which are dragon gods. So there's a lot of dragons in this series. It started off as a single issue on Kickstarter. We raised $4,000 for the first issue, and it's been going strong, growing and getting there. Over COVID, we released 2 books. We did Tavern of Dreams at the end of COVID, which was an Illustrator novel. That was book 2. And then at the end of 2021, we did the Bizane Book of Monsters, Australia's highest funded comic anthology. It has about 8 creators in there, and it's filled with crazy art like that, very realistic. And like I said, I paint. So I've studied traditional art. I studied as a fine artist. There's an original over here. You can see that's Vecna from Stranger Things. I get to do all the cons. I have a funny pun. I'm a bit of a con artist, so I go around to all the comic cons and meet all the actors. And they sign all my original paintings. I usually don't do every actor, but whoever I really find fits with my brand well. Like if it's Star Wars or fantasy or D&D related, I'll always do a painting of the actor or one of the characters they play, and then I'll get the actor to sign it, and I'll sign the painting. So this one has actually got I'll try and move it over. It's got a signature on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started out as a traditional painter, studied fine art at the University of South Australia. I then went back and did a master's in 2009 in digital painting and edutainment. So I did basically educational video games that are fun. So that was my master's topic. Almost did a PhD, but I basically got picked up by the games industry, been working in games and film since 2012 on different sort of independent film projects, game projects,
Awesome.
and then building up my own brand since 2015, 16.
Right.
So comic book wise, I do a lot of this traditionally, like I pencil a lot of the stuff. I then do digital painting, digital coloring. I also use 3D models sometimes to get the reference right and stuff. So I use all tools. Yeah. I do like painting traditionally, like I can paint from scratch, but as you know, with a 38-page book or 28-page book, which this is, it's a lot of work doing it all traditionally. So, yeah. And for printing, it's better. Digital printing, when you're printing stuff, digital files are better, and eventually you have to scan your original paintings in and put it into the system. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to I interviewed a friend last week who is actually a teacher, a young teacher, and her mum who's an airbrush artist, and she's a traditional, but her daughter Zoe is a digital, teaches the digital art form as well as she's traditional as well. So I asked her to do a cover for our next book, right, for Incredi-Girl. So for issue number 2, right? So I said, hey, what's your charge? And she said, this is what it'll be traditionally. This is what it'll be digital. And I said, how large do you do it? Because see, with digital, you can do large, and then bring it right down to small, like a little card size, and there's so much detail and so much like effect in there, and it really pop. So I said, yeah, I'd go for the digital because then I can do lots of not renditions, but lots because it's already I already have a file, so I can manipulate it, whatever way, and put logos and all that on top of it without affecting the original art if it was traditional, right? Because then you can scan it. Then I got to do all this other work, but if I get a file, I'm ready to go. I like what the work, man. It reminded me of, I think there's a European comic called Dwarfs. Am I right there? Albums, they're called Dwarfs.
What's it called? Sorry?
I think it's called Dwarfs, or might be called Elves, because I've read it. It's very popular. I think it's a French album series, like graphic novel series. They call it albums. And I really enjoyed it. And that's what I've, for this sort of artwork, that's what what I've been, what would you say, that I've been into when it comes to artwork like this. Along with anime, I'm really into Goblin Slayer, stuff like that, right? And I like that also the other isekai stuff, right? Where it's you go to another world and you see all these beautiful magical creatures, which is what I love about this graphic novel, right? I mean, basically it's going to be a graphic novel once you finish the series. But I mean, I like about these comic books that you've got because there's so much vibrant artwork, and everybody knows how hard it is to, do traditional work compared to digital, because digital, you can just go back on the layers, right? Yeah. And you can make this layer thing, because I work digital as well. So you can go back in the layers and you can, save about 50 times and you can change it, whatever you want. But the hard work of traditional, I really, really appreciate it when someone actually does hands-on. And I love seeing, traditional comic books, like your paintings, man. I love seeing what you've done here with these characters. There's something amazing about fantasy world creations compared to just, slice of life, kind of like normal people doing normal things, right? Humans like movement. But when you actually create fantasy creatures, man, you're bringing something amazing and magic to the world. Do you want to talk about building this world?
Yeah, for sure. So the Luminous Ages world, basically the premise was that I was going to use different mythologies to inspire the universe. So I'm basically saying that the Big Bang happened, yes, but it was 13 dragon gods colliding with each other to create the first planet, Equatoria, and then Earth was created later. And then also what happened was all the different cultures from around the world, like planet Earth, were basically originated from Equatoria, and they migrated to Earth over time. And also some Earth cultures also went back to this dream planet. And the dream planet is also like an analogy for when we fall asleep. Maybe we do go to this planet, this other world. So it's kind of got like that whole Neil Gaiman Sandman vibe, where there is there is a place where dreams exist, and magic exists and all that sort of stuff, but it can influence Earth. And ultimately, they're connected. So Earth and this planet Equatoria are connected, but on Equatoria, all the crazy magical dreamlike stuff happens, and like a luminary could be, like, say, a luminary wizard or person that uses luminary magic is someone that has like ink markings on their body, and they can draw and bring a monster to life.
Right.
So imagine if they appeared on Earth, right?
Yep.
They would be someone like Zeus, a Greek god like Zeus, or it could be a Nordic god. And people would think that they're a god, but in actual fact, they're just a dream wizard from another planet. They're from our planet. Right. And so people back in ancient times maybe thought, well, these were gods, but they weren't. So they worshipped them as gods, but maybe they were just really powerful people that could control their mind or control the power of magic. They had a connection to this planet where dreams manifest into reality really fast. So Equatoria is a planet. There are like other little stories I'm writing. Like there's the depths of the Dreamverse. I'm kind of fleshing out an area where it's like the inner, deeper parts of your dream, or when you fall asleep and you see something out of the corner of your eye and it's a creature scattering across the room or something like that. So I'm working on a lot of books in this universe. It's basically a 13, maybe 11 to 13 book series.
Awesome, man.
Like I said, we're on book 4. This is book 4 now. The comic, which will hopefully be a graphic novel. We'll do another 20 pages and it'll be a graphic novel, or 30 pages by next year or whenever. But ultimately, the series is massive, and I'm still scripting and writing a lot of the universe. I mean, there are rules how the magic works. There's rules at how, like basically we've got goblins in this next book, and goblins aren't always bad. I'm not actually saying they're evil creatures. That they could be mischievous creatures. They could be, friendly. They can be neutral. So we don't have the stereotypical evil goblin or stereotypical evil demon. Maybe. And same with dragons. Maybe there's some vegan dragons out there or something like that. Dragons that only eat plants. So,
and they don't fry humans and roast them for barbecue.
That's it.
Hey,
That's
I was thinking about the goblins there, right? So like I remember, like, because like I said, I watch a lot of anime and I get my entertainment and my what is it like? How like as an artist and as a creator, you kind of need something to just keep your juices flowing. So I find for me watching other forms of entertainment, because and seeing that joyful. So like we're talking about goblins there. So I was like watching something like that, and you're talking about goblins, right? You've got these creatures that have their own families, right? That they have their own network connections, their grandparents and so on. And and then you have these sometimes they just use this cannon fodder, right? They become like the in these worlds, and that's what I'm trying to get to a point about why I think this is awesome what you're doing is like, because most of those goblins, they're just cannon fodder. They don't have any sort of like reason for being apart from being just like moving the story along. And I think I always I'm kind of the guy who thinks like, what happened to the person on the ground when Superman hit the building? What happened to the person that was janitor cleaning up when somebody blew it up, right? The evil person blew it up. But what about those people? So that got me thinking, like, we need to kind of like bring that sort of humanity to those people as well. And I think with you and when you're talking about it, I was thinking, hey, that's like giving them their own sort of characteristics, their own sort of reason for being part of the story. You know, like they don't have to be evil. Maybe they are. Maybe they're like just human beings. You know, some are really horrible beings, humans who just do horrible things for no reason at all, but because they want to do it. And I think giving this sort of like characteristic to these creatures is amazing, man. Carry on.
Yeah, no, it's all good. So there's definitely with the goblins, they're like, you know, like I said, that good, there's evil, there's neutral, and we've got 3 clans. So we've got
right.
There's the mercantile clan, there's the seafarers, they're the ones that like they run the pirate ships and stuff, and then there's the military clan as well. And you're right, there is family and story. So even in my first book, we talk about the first goblin. The first goblin you actually meet in my graphic novel is Husko, and Husko is like this. He basically controls the markets in this labyrinth, the labyrinth of Alatheria. I'll just try and find it for you. Sorry, getting there. I should know my own book, though, shouldn't I?
Well, I mean, like when you're doing so many things, you know, it's like you forget stuff. Like today, I got sent awesome.
So that's Husko there in the corner, and that's
let me put you on full screen.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So that's Husko there. That's Husko. He's the goblin. And he basically runs the labyrinth here, the labyrinth of Alatheria, and that is, you know, he runs not the interior, but more the outside markets. So he's like the mercantile goblin, and he obviously makes an appearance in this new comic, and just basically he's the narrator. So he's like, I wanted to tell you, like that's him there again, there with David Bowie. He's making a comment on David Bowie, and that's him down there as well. But he's making a comment.
What's Labyrinth David Bowie doing there?
Oh, well, it's quite funny. I mean, he's basically making a comment on saying that he's not the Goblin King, and he's quite angry that children in the 80s did not know that goblins come from Greek mythology. So, and that everyone thinks that goblins are only from the West. So, it's just a comedy. It's a joke. It's breaking the fourth wall, that sort of thing. Then we've got, these are the goblins, and we've got like, you know, there's also infighting amongst them. So they all don't like each other as well. So, you know, there's some goblins that are evil. There's some that are neutral. There's some that are good. Some that are just mischievous. And the whole idea is to, you know, just show that bring character to them, bring life to them, and make it like you said, they're not just, you know, just cannon fodder. They're not. There's actually story, and by the end of the book, you know, hopefully you'll either fall in love with them or you'll hate some of them. You know what I mean? That's the whole idea. You want to know what happens to these characters and how it fits in with the whole universe and the whole series as well. So.
Yeah, I was just, you know, talking about forgetting stuff. So I mean, like, you've been doing this. This is your 4th issue, right? That you're bringing out.
Fourth graphic novel.
Right. How many pages are in these books?
The first book was 136 pages. That's this one here. 136 pages of comics. I did too much. I went too generous with that book. Second book was the Byzane book. Tavern of Dreams. That's an illustrated novel, but it's got 70 illustrations in it. It's like a picture book. So that's a gorgeous picture book. It's 150 pages with 70 pages of artwork. Like every second page is an illustration like that. Right. So it's still a narrative comic book, but it's more told in the form of a picture book. So that was over COVID. I had more time to write, so I wrote more, and I think it's what
the Japanese call light novels, right?
That's it, light novel. And then we've got the Byzane, which is about a 58-page book. So I'm like really bad with the cameras. So that's a 48-page book. Let's just go to some pages there. So that gives you an idea of the style and quality. So that's book 3 books. And now the 4th is this one. It's a 28-page comic, but hopefully, we're very close to funding. Oh, wow. We just got another backer as we're talking. So
well, like the thing about like doing these podcasts, I've noticed that, like, you know, you put the link out, you show people what's there, and they go and check it out. You know, they have, you know, you open one browser while you're listening to us talk. Somebody's got the other browser on, and I do that a lot, right? So like when I'm working, I have I have a 38-inch and a 43-inch. So I work on the
Yeah.
43-inch with all my comics and stuff and lettering and design. On the other one right next to it, I've got YouTube going on. I'm watching animes. I'm watching movies while it's there. I'm just listening to it. I'm watching other podcasts and stuff. And I think this is like we live in a really different world to what we were in like about 30 years ago. And the joy that we've got all this, like especially having something like Kickstarter or Indiegogo or any other sort of like funding, crowdfunding agencies, websites, where you have people out of the blue anywhere in the world could support someone like us who are just trying to do something for themselves, who have created something and put time and effort into it, and people can, out of their own goodness of their heart, right, support something and take a piece of this artwork and make it their own. And the thing about this is, because we're individual creators and independent, we don't, maybe we'll get to it where we get the mainstream sort of like our books are in everywhere, right? At the moment, we're able to get started through Kickstarter to be able to just get a handful of prints out and special books, covers out and stuff like that. And then maybe later we could get them out as a graphic novel. And the thing here I like about what you've done is that you've got this dice thing, and I don't understand it. I was like looking at it, I'm thinking, what is this dice thing? And then you mentioned earlier that you got games and card games. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, for sure. So I have, we've got the Luminous Ages card game, which I don't think I've got a copy maybe here. No, maybe not. My artwork's being licensed on everything from puzzles. So maybe I'm just going to zoom back. You're going to see over here. Anyway, so we've got, this is one of my puzzles, which was published by Tilbury. So we've got, this is actually dragons from my comic book series. But we've also got a card game. It's the Luminous Ages card game. Almost sold out.
Hold on. Do you want to talk about this whole puzzle thing? We'll go through the merch one at a time so we get an idea of, because I know people out there are like, the reason I want to talk about this is that the other day I just saw one that a New Zealand person had done, at a store, and I never thought that somebody would just have a piece of artwork or photo in New Zealand and get that, like yourself, get done by mainstream publisher or whatever of puzzles. It's just for me, someone who is like getting their mind blown with what creativity is out there because of Kickstarter, and what people are able to back, has really got me going and thinking about all the possibilities that are there, right? So talk about how you decided to do a puzzle.
So basically, I have an agent in America. So I have an agent. They're called Tate Licensing, and they do sell my art over in America in a few places like Walmart and Kmart and whatever. And they just got me over COVID, they got me a few deals just selling to Kmart and selling to Sanity. I don't know if you guys have Sanity in New Zealand.
No, we don't. Not that I'm aware of, sorry, but yeah.
So I'm not super rich from it, unfortunately. It's more publicity thing. So they sold quite a lot of units, but usually the artists like myself might get a royalty. We get an advance they buy the work for a certain fee, and then if they sell the units, you get a royalty of $1 or a couple dollars per puzzle. It's not a huge margin because Kmart has to make the money, the publisher has to make the money, and then they've got to pay to produce it. So, but it's just a little bit of royalties. As an artist, you find different income streams, and for me, that's what I did over COVID to pay some of the bills. And so ultimately, puzzles were a good kind of start. Good something to do. Got my name on the map. I think we also made it into New Zealand for the Kmart puzzles. So I think some of the puzzles were in New Zealand as well.
That's pretty cool, man. How much do they sell for?
They range in price from $8 up to $30 puzzles. So,
that's brilliant.
So the Tilbury are the more expensive one. This is like the deluxe puzzle. So that's this one here. So I've had 6 designs come out across in Australia, and in total another 4 in the US that I know of. Maybe there's more, but no, it's about 4. So total 10 puzzles came out the last 3 years. But I think because everyone's no longer home and everyone's out partying back to normal, COVID's not as bad. The sales are kind of dropping off. So
Yeah.
it's trickling along, but it's still not the same. So yeah.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, I remember like over COVID, like I did a lot of live streams, right? I interviewed a lot of artists, a lot of people in my community, and that was, it's sort of like, because I was stuck at home, right? You weren't allowed to go out. We had just rolling friggin' lockdown system going on, which I really despised. But it also made me think, how do I actually connect creatively to the community? And so I started running the live streams, right, under the Narrative brand. And I got to talk with politicians, I got to talk with technical people who work with computers, as rather than traditional, all over, like gallery owners and stuff like that. How do they sell their product when there's nobody coming into the store, right? And so a lot of people went online and learned how to like figure out, which was really good. I think that side really, really worked to taught businesses that the internet is a good place to connect, and especially social media with people like we're doing right now, right? And I think you've only got like about $400-300 left to cover this, another successful campaign.
Yeah, so I think we're about $230.
I was going to ask you about the dice, and I forgot. So let's get back to the dice. Show us the dice, man.
Yeah, for sure. So I've got a range of dice, but the ones that we are launching on this campaign are a goblin dice. So there's a baby goblin in there. I don't know if the cameras get it, but you can see it on the campaign. Let me try.
Close.
Let's try this angle. Yeah. Let's see how we go there. Let's try there.
No, it's too cloudy. That's right. But so, what size
I need to clean up my camera. It's a dirty camera now. But it's basically a goblin inside there. There's a cage. I don't know if you can see it. I'll try and see it. Maybe if I put my
That's all right. I'm sure that people will be able to see that actually on the Kickstarter. So if you guys are watching, you can check out the Kickstarter as well and open up another browser like we said before. And there's a link there for it. So tell us about what this what was the reason behind the dice?
Nearly went in focus then. Nearly there. Yeah, sorry, what were you saying? You gone?
Tell us about how the idea behind, the concept behind the dice, and what's it for, really?
Well, it's for any sort of. The concept was I wanted to make a dice goblin. So obviously, people that collect dice, they call themselves dice goblins, right?
Okay.
So I thought, well, you're not a real dice goblin until you have the dice goblin. You know what I mean? So
that's pretty cool, man.
That's it. And I sculpted them in 3D using ZBrush, and basically you have to splice the model in half on every single face that you can to make sure that the dice is a balanced dice. And it took like months of preparation. We also trademarked it, so it costs a lot of money to do all that. They also make this, because they're made of copper, they make this lovely, I'm just trying to think, they make this lovely sound like so. So they jingle like that because of the copper.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right, let me see if I can, just tell me about this page here so I can, there it is, isn't it? I almost had it. There we go.
Yeah, if you want to go lower, there's probably better photos. You might have to scroll down a little bit more. Sorry to skip past that one. There you go. There, that's a better one there with the green and the silver. There you go.
Oh, look at that. I was like really impressed, and I just wanted to, because for me, information has to be told to me or shown to me, right? I don't like to read a lot and stuff. So I'm a comic based person, right? So I got to have little bits of information and stuff.
Right. Pictures and stuff.
So tell us, like, how did you go about, like, we were talking about creating it, but you're just talking about licensing it. Tell us a bit about that.
It's a very costly exercise, so I don't know if the viewers want to know, but like you have to trademark it, you have to get a lawyer involved. They lodged the patent in Australia and New Zealand, and then that protects you at least globally a little bit. Like for a lot, I mean, you can't. Unfortunately, there's always going to be people bootlegging stuff out there.
Oh, of course,
apparently the bootlegging industry is bigger than the drug and the sex industry combined.
Well, I mean, like it's been around longer, hasn't it? I think I mean, there is the fear, like, I mean, like, you get a figure like this, and it could be from this one here, which I picked up yesterday on a hospice shop that I do almost every week. So there is, like, I mean, I'm sure this figure has been created by by somebody bootlegged this figure anyway. The problem I think we have right now, and which America found out under Trump, was that around about 80% of their IPs are bootleg, right? Through Asia or China, and because like what they did was, and it was their own fault. You can't blame, a manufacturer or person who's that it's if you have taken your product and said, here, you create it. So with your product, right? And this is what I was thinking, did you create it locally, right? Or did you go overseas to have it done?
The problem is there's no one that would make it locally. Yeah, no one can make this locally. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So, but you're still protected copyright-wise, you know what I mean? So no one else can sell it here in Australia without my permission, and even overseas. So that's the thing. So if, unfortunately, China will always try and bootleg something, but something like this, we own the copyright. And so as soon as they try and do it, we can shut down factories even in China, we can shut them down and stuff like that. So, that's not really something that, you really want to focus on.
Well, it's going to take a lot of time to chase it up, right? I mean, like, it's not like, I mean, this whole legal process, people don't realize how much time and effort it takes to put it together. I mean, like, I've got my own lawyers as well. So, to protect, me, like, say if somebody tried to defame who I am, I have a lawyer, who will look, sort that out. And one of the things that we have, like the fact that we have social media and you're able to send all this product, this visual right now is available to the world, right, of this dice. And so anybody could go, oh yeah, and take and go, I can 3D print it now, create that onto and that's the, we talk about AI art, right? Before we mentioned that this, all your work is traditional or digital, right? But you're doing it. It's not some machine is putting it together. And
just so I'll just interject. I still sculpt all these. I still sculpt them all. I still print them on a resin printer here. So we have to still cast the mold, but it does have to go overseas because there's no copper factories here that will do a copper this small. You know what I mean? No one will do it.
Yeah. I mean, we looked at we ourselves before our one. We're looking at getting, if we get to 8,000, we're going to be doing like a chibi box, set, painted set for people. Like, I mean, for us. And I looked into the process of that, and how much it actually costs to get it, get the first mold done, and then get the copper the mold of the copper thing, and then it's got, of course, now you got to create about 100 of them to make it work, or 500 to make it worthwhile doing it. So you've got how many dices have you got here? Like the designs there, is it just the one or is there several? I'm looking at different sizes here.
There's more. If you scroll down the project, no rush, but there's another 4 designs. So we've got spherical design. There's a spherical dragon. There's a caged dragon. There's dragon's eye, and then there's a howling wolf as well. So if you go further down,
are you talking about this one here?
No, keep on going down. You're gonna have to go down really, really far down. This is the whole project. You get to see the whole project now. So there. More.
Was it there?
No. That's still the goblin dice. So these are all the goblins. These are all the colors we have. We have 7 colors you can get. So it's black, purple on silver, blue on polished silver. There we go.
Green one.
They're the ones that won, the green and blue on gold one. I'm just getting there a bit more. And I think we're coming up to almost there. There we go. Here we are. That's it there. So they're the 3 designs. We got 3 designs of it. There is a wolf one, but we didn't make it available on this Kickstarter because there's just too many designs to I have to reprint them all again, remake them all again, and it costs a bit. But we've got the dragon eye gemstone. There's a spherical and a cage dragon. If you want to scroll down a bit more, you can probably see the colors and get a closer look of the bit down on the left. That's it there. So you can see there's the dragon in the middle. So if you go down a bit, there they are. So there's a spherical dragon. You can see dragon on there. There's dragon eyes, and then the cage dragon. So the dragon inside, like the goblin. So yeah, they've been popular. We had a Kickstarter for the cage dragon last year that was raised a lot of money. Did about $30,000, and that was quite popular. Wow. Yeah. So
it's awesome, man.
But The good thing about buying from me is you get a warranty. So when you buy from me, the artist creator, you get a year chip-free warranty on the paint. The paint's made is going to last at least, like, it probably lasts forever if you don't bang them together and chip off the paint yourself. But you got at least 1 year use out of the paint, and then it's a lifetime warranty on the copper dice. So because it's made of copper. And you get a certificate of originality, certificate of authenticity.
Right, authenticity. Yeah.
So they're all signed. They're all signed certificates.
A lot of these dices, I don't expect people to play with them, right? These are collector pieces, and I think, as a collector myself of like toys and stuff, right? I don't start Jimmy jagging like I used to be as with a kid, right? So they're all going to be like stuck, on the shelf like there,
Yeah, nice.
So and I'm going to expect the books are going to be read and enjoyed and shared, but the dice is going to be in a little case or whatever, put aside to display and be like talking pieces, because they are great pieces of artwork. And this is physical. This is what I love about what you guys are doing, and what is allowed creators to do. Let me just hold that back up, mate. Let me just get that out, and I'll get you the full screen. Here we go. So I mean, you've got a collective piece. That's like what, 7 pieces, and they're all different, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about like the actual Kickstarter, and I'm going to play the video.
Yeah, for sure.
And we'll get that. We'll get that on here, and we'll go to the start. Just bear with us, folks. It's going to take me a bit of time to get all the way over to the top, because there's a lot of information on this page. And I mean, like, for me, it's like I just get my mind blown looking at all of it, right? Coming to it fresh, with fresh eyes and stuff. So we're really, you're really, really close to getting this over. And it's like, what, 48 hours left or something? Or is less than that?
It's about 52 hours now. I mean, by midnight tonight will be 2 days left. So 48 hours.
Yep.
I'm sure we'll get there. I'm sure my fans will kick in and do something. Someone will back it.
Right. So let me just get this on the full screen, and we can start talking about this now. All right. Yep. I'm at the top of the thing. I'm going to play the video.
Go for it.
If I can find a little. There we go. Now you got 68.
Hello, how are you? I am Hasko, gatekeeper of the Labyrinth of Alitheria. The Gobaloi, also known as the Goblins, usually get a bad rap, and I've heard that people do not even know that we first appeared on planet Earth in ancient Greece, and not in Western Europe as some people would believe. To make matters worse, there is a character that appears to be human posing as the Goblin King. See, our great fortune-telling goblins have seen that in the 1980s on Earth, they made the Goblin movie and staged a human called Gareth as the Goblin King. This makes me angry, because little ones in the 80s did not know that goblins were Greek and how the true Goblin King came to power. As I was saying, us Gobaloi, goblins, we are great seafarers and explorers. We came from the planet Ekratoria through dream portals in pursuit of gold. When we arrived on the Greek islands, we managed to either scare many of the population into giving us coins or trick them with our cunning. However, over time, the Athenians noticed and started to recruit us to row their ships for a very large amount of gold. Our cooperation with the Greeks prospered, and we settled on the island of Evia. We bought many buildings and even made our own casino. But this accumulation of wealth caused division amongst the 3 classes of the Gobaloi. The Gobaloi went too far fighting and accidentally toppled over a statue, which happened to be none other than the mad wine god Dionysus. And this is where our story begins. You will find in this beautiful comic of ancient Greek comedy the origins of the goblins. And not only this, you discover the origins of dice themselves. You will discover the rise of power of the great Goblin King, and you even have a chance to collect your own dice. Come and join this Kickstarter today, and you will not be disappointed. Take care, and Yasu.
Awesome. Now let me just get back out of there.
All good.
Yeah, there we are. All right. So now, is it like a couple hundred, like, it's like $50 or $60 away from completing the project, right? This campaign.
I think it's like $228 away. 228.
Man, that's pretty awesome, dude. That's awesome,
Thank
man. Let me get this out of there. Makes it full screen. Okay, so that's pretty cool. You got all this information, tells you this background. Now, what I want to know, is how did you have to license David Bowie to be in your thing, in your in this comic book?
With this one, it's actually a parody. So if you actually scroll down to the page, so if you go down, if it's just a quick mention, it's fine. If you go down, go to the comic book page. So we're actually going to change the wording a little bit. So it's not going to be Jareth. I'm going to make a joke. Here he is here. If you go up a bit, there he is there. So you have a look at him. It actually looks like David Bowie, but it's not. It's a parody. It's a Mad magazine. You know what I mean? So when it's parody, you're allowed to do that. Within reason, and it's literally only one panel. So even if I took it out, the story could still continue. You know what I mean? So even if the creators of the Labyrinth get upset and they're like, no, you're putting us down, then I can take it out and I can just change it. But at the moment, it's a parody, and I'm going to change the name. I'm not going to put. I don't think in the actual comic book we do say he's a Goblin King, Jareth, but I'm going to name him a different name, Jareth Monobrawi.
You don't have to. I mean, people will understand if his name is called Bob, right? But
that's it.
They'll get a reference in their head because we're going
to call him not Bowie. Yeah. It's going to be Monobrawi.
Yeah.
Get it?
Yeah. and I think I think modern, like the idea of like modern entertainment thinks that the audience is dumb, right? They think that we don't understand story, we don't understand characters, that we don't know how to connect. But we've been like through our entire lives in our generation, right? Like I'm 50. So since I was 8 or 9 when I came to New Zealand, every day I've watched TV, right? Almost all movies. So I have been watching the best of the best that's been ever written around: movies, TVs, comic books, stories. So my brain understands how to connect to what the story works and what's good. And so like when I look at the artwork, I go, whoa, I'm impressed because I understand this is how God must look. And this is, and then I'm looking at the very colorful thing. I'm like, yeah, this is just amazing. And I'm watching that video and I'm thinking, wow, this is just really cool. Did you voice it yourself, the video there?
Yes, it is me, my voice.
Yeah.
What happens when you got a tight budget, I did hire an animator though, so it did cost me quite a bit. I won't say how much, but I hired a local Aussie animator. He's a friend of mine. I met him at a con, and he was actually tabling next to me, and he goes, "Hey, I'm an animator," and it was like, "Okay, wow, do you want to animate my Kickstarter video?" He was a very reasonable priced, so he didn't charge me like big studio prices. He just charged me like someone off the street price, a mate price. So that was really great of him to do that. So I was quite happy. But yeah, he
But
at the end of the day,
here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing, right? So this is something I said to Nicole yesterday, right? About like how a single story from a individual creator is able to finance so many other people in the industry that they work in, right?
Of course.
Because you've created this campaign and you've said, oh, you know what, it would be cool if I had an animated thing. Now you've given somebody an employment, right? You've given somebody income. And now, not only that, you've got lawyers you got to pay to protect your thing, who earn a living from that. Now you've got
printing,
people. Yeah, you got your printing. That's the first stop. But not only that, you've got your dice creators, and so manufacturers and stuff. They got to box it all up. All that stuff, man. People don't understand how the amazing niche budget or whatever you want to call it, right? That comes from just a single comic book, right? And I think this is what I think people need to understand more, that you, Anthony, as a comic book creator and artist, right, are able to create something that is actually helping other people be employed and get paid. That's not just you with a comic book, you know. And I think I just find that because I'm a small business owner myself, right? Not only do I just, you know, do a comic, right? We also run a independent, like local community-based convention, right? Where we promote all this stuff. We promote independent artists to come and just like show their thing. We had a 14-year-old girl last year, right? In April, Annalisa, who was there selling badges of her anime art, right? So she was selling badges. So we had a whole bunch of posters spare, right? So I said, hey, Annalisa, why don't you just cut out the head of the posters, right? And basically made pins. And I said, here, now you keep those 30 posters because they're just posters that for like publicity, right? I can't reuse them because they're all dated. And I said, Jeff, just pop it out. And she had her machine there, you know, right there doing it. And I said, her dad came over, gave me a couple. Thank you. Here you go. You just carry on doing it, mate. And so, but I looked at her work and I said, hey, Annalisa, you know, because they paid for a store, right? And I looked at her and I said, would you be interested in doing a cover for me? Like if I animate like a manga art style cover or whatever, your own work, cover for me, right? And so over about a month of debating with her, I mean, not debating, but email back and forth a day. I didn't even know she was 14, right? I thought she was 18. And I was going to offer her this project that I have, which is mature readers. And then I realized her dad said, hey, she's only 14, mate. And I said, okay, cool. All right, so now I've got to change. I can't give her that work, but I really wanted to work, maybe do a cover for us. Because that cover now will, at the age of 14, is going to allow her to have something of her work out in the world, right? On our next Kickstarter, which is the tortoise. And she's able to slowly build up her career as a 14-year-old for the next 4 years, right, until she leaves school. And then she can go into an art, look at maybe decide she wants to be a comic book artist or just a cover artist, right? Now that's inspiring someone to get into a life and a career, you know, from the artwork. And so I think we don't discuss a lot about this. We just think, oh, we're doing a campaign, but we don't discuss about all the other people that we inspire, that we actually employ through that, you know. And I think we've become like business leaders, right, by doing this stuff. And I think a lot of people don't understand how it works, because like look, how many you've got. This is your first project, right? And you've raised how much totally from that? If you know, out of all these 4 projects,
like I've actually done 19 Kickstarters for my art and comics and that. So collectively, with this Kickstarter, we've raised about $265,000 since 2015. Right now, that's the other thing I want to talk about. People see, okay, wow, you've made $11,000. You're going to be rich. You know, you got, you know, your bills paid for 3 months. This goes all back into investing in the stock. Like I've got to order 150 sets of dice or more. I have to order 100 comic books because of all the fans. And whatever's left over is all I got left to sell at a show. So even if I order 150 sets of dice, 70 might be going to Kickstarter back as the other 70 go to a convention. Or same with comics. Like if I print 100 of these books, right? 70 might go out for orders, but I've only got 25 to take the show. I can always order a bit more, but even the funding, we're really scraping by to make this. Like I've also hired an assistant colorist in Poland. He's done 5 pages, but I'm painting the rest of it is all me. You know, so that's my time. You know what I mean? Like I could be taking on more freelance work. I could be taking on 2 months worth of art. It's going to take me another. Well, I've already done half of it, but it's going to take me another month now to finish this book and get it out by September. You know, not having to whinge. I'm just saying this pays me for my time. And I've got an assistant. You know, I've got an assistant works for me. She works for me 1 to 2 days a week. So Christy, thank you for always being supportive. So she's an amazing worker. She's been with me for 10 years. She's a part-time contractor. You know, so she's come on board as a graphic designer. She helps with stuff. Then I hire a letterer. So I've got Stephen Kwok, SK. He's on Facebook as SK. You've probably chatted with SK. So
he's the one who got us all started with you, Aussie. I was going to say, you know, the B word, but you know, all you Aussie guys, you know. So I'm like quite excited for like what Stephen's done, right? and has allowed us to get in touch and stuff and put us into, you know, the Aussie connection, because this is what I'm trying to say, like why I find like there is a lot of behind the scenes that people don't understand.
No, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, and for me, because I am a small business owner, and because I understand, and I've, you know, like I've come out from like owning a shop, right, and now I'm running a convention, and I'm you know, I'm doing this, and I'm also sitting as a director on an international company. So when I'm doing all that stuff, I get to see all the hard work people put in, from all little things, you know, from the artists, like you said, from your you know, assistant, from your letterer, all the people that you're able to help because you've decided to do a comic book, right? And I think that is the joy of actually being someone who creates something for themselves and is able to then support other people, you know, at whatever level, right? It might be just $20 that, you know, for an hour's work or something, but still $20.
It's really funny because I talk about this like with my assistant a lot, and like I've encouraged her. She's an artist, she does art herself, and like one of my friends was like, oh, you know, you got to, you know, let Christy go out on her own and do her own business, and you know, it's free. And I'm like, and then I actually talked to Christy about it, and I said, hey, what do you want? Do you still want to work with me? Or like, you know, because I wasn't getting mixed messages, but I was like starting to question, you know, maybe. But then she goes, actually, I like supporting you. I don't want to. I see what you go through as a business owner and doing this all on your own.
I don't want it, right?
And I don't want it. I want to support you. I want to help you, you know? So, and she's loyal because of that, you know? And at the end of the day, bro, Aru, like, it's just, it's great to have people that support you. It's humbling. I mean, I have sales people that help me at conventions, and they don't want to do this full time. They don't want to do what we are doing, what you and me are doing, creative businesses. Is not we're forging our own path,
right?
We're like
a lot of people, you know, and a lot of people don't have that in them. And I think, look, like I said, I'm 50, right? In May I turned 50. When I was like, let me see, when I was like about 18, 19, I was out there drinking every weekend, right? I was skateboarding, I was smoking it up, and even up till I was like about 20. Oh gosh, must be about 24 or something, or 23. I was still doing that. But then I got involved in a group, right? Which I really, really am thankful for, a church group, right? Got myself cleaned up. I got involved in acting, right? I got involved in getting, like, here's me who does everything themselves, right? Someone who doesn't care about anybody else. Was for 6 years able to learn how to work as part of a team, how to be a leader to that team, how to raise leaders, how to be mentored, you know, and put on stage productions, write stuff, make short videos, right? Films, and write films. And over that time, then went to films and all this stuff. I worked for Sally Army and all this. You learn all these things, and you get to a point you realize, I know a lot. I have experienced a lot. I've learned a lot because I've been willing to learn. Like, even like Stephen, I think it was yesterday. Times run so fast when you're so busy. Stephen said to me yesterday, like, I just run out and did shopping and came back with a whole bunch of toys and stuff and groceries. And I, got in touch with Stephen. I said, I need to get in touch with this guy. Didn't know who he was really, but I knew. He said a bit, and on Messenger, and so he said, like, look, this is what's happening. I said, dude, I'm teachable. At 50, I'm teachable. I want to learn as much as I can at 50. I've got, as far as I'm concerned, I've got another 15 years to make amazing stuff, right? We're young, you sort of like say, this is what we're going to do in the next 5. And people without aim get nothing done, but people like us who are visionaries, like create stuff that benefits other people, and I think this is something that's the community should be proud of, right, for what you're doing. And I think because when you're at this level, it is tough, man. It is tough to keep everything working on all different areas. And I'm proud of what you're doing, man. And I'm proud of all these creators that are coming out. And that's why I put on this this podcast, right? Because I get to talk to people like you, very creative, right? very creative, very involved in what they're doing, but also very much actually helping other people through that. So tell us about like bringing your teams together, because like a lot of people, you know, I'm sure there were some that came in and left, right? You know, but some that just said, yeah, I'm in for this. So tell us a bit about that, mate.
Well, it started, the first book, the first graphic novel was me and Rob Richardson. And actually, I still work with Rob Richardson. He's a bit older than me. He's had some heart issues. So he's had, with his health, he's had to like sit out in terms of doing the sequential art, but he will come in as a writer, like someone to help me creatively. He mentors me in the business. He's basically got some connections over there in the US in the big way. So he's helping on that front. So he helped on the first book. So he's actually a partner on the first book. Rob, that's his name down there. That's me. That's him. So he helped do a lot of the art with that book. So he painted probably half of the book, and I painted the other half. It was like a collaboration, that book. And he's still is still rostered to work on any future books. I just have to give him notice. So he's an artist that's never going to leave. But it all depends on his health. You know what I mean? Then I have, you know, it's all, as we're getting older, there is certain limitations we all have, you know. But and then with the Bizet, we've got the Polish artist Dmitry Yukovsky. But the one that he's a great artist, but he's become really busy. And so I can't get him all the time. But one guy that's always available is a great penciler called Rod Ramos Rodolfo. So he was on this book as well. He was the penciler on a lot of, like, some of the pages. I did like I said, a lot of these books are 50% I pencil and do the whole thing, and I just show them the style guide. It's like a style, and I say, do this. Can you continue on? Here's the script. Here's the concept art of what all the characters like. Because I'm doing fantasy art like this. These big paintings pay the bills, and the comics are profitable. They're not huge profit, but they're something that's part of my universe, my art. You know, and to be honest with you, if I didn't have Kickstarters, my business wouldn't be around, because that's what saved the day over COVID. I was able to do these books. Like I said, Christy, Christy does admin, marketing, graphic design. She's an illustrator herself, so she's done some artworks in the card game as well. So she's a painter herself. So she's in the team, been here for 10 years, part-time, just as a contractor. That's all she wants. And then we've got we've got Stephen, as a letterer. So Stephen Kwok. So he does all the lettering for me now, and I hire him. He's always on board. He's brilliant, creative. He's great for the community as well, for comics in general. And that's about it. With the anthology, we had a comic anthology. Some of the people just wanted to be a part of the story, and they submitted stories and art for free. And some people did complete stories and the artwork for free. Even Rod Ramos Rodolfo did a story for free. And then some artists, some writers submitted stories and wanted me to do. I did the art for them, or sometimes I paired them up with another artist, and I paid that artist, you know, basic wage, like basic page rates of 120 US a page, and they would finish off the pages. So there's about 8 creators on that that helped with the anthology section. But this one, like I said, this one won a Kickstarter award. This is the highest funded Aussie novel on Kickstarter as well. So we've won 2 awards now for the books.
I'm talking about the awards, right? So I was watching, it was the 2022 award, and yesterday I saw about the first half of it, and you guys had like Stephen was there, and I'm not sure, I can't remember who was the co-host,
Sean Keenan.
Sean? And then you also had the lady from Kickstarter on there as well. So I mean, this is something that, like, far as I'm concerned, as a Kiwi, we don't get that connection with Kickstarter, right? And to be invited into this like Australasian thing, I'm very humbled by that, right? To be part of this.
Did you get connection. An invitation? Did you get an invitation or not?
I'm sure. You know, Stephen will sort something out, but like I just think it's just, we need that something for us ourselves. But I'm not going to be the one who'd run that, right? Because I'm so busy. But that's the thing about these things. It's like a lot of us are so busy on our own project, and we're so committed to our own stuff that a lot of times there's nobody there to fill in that role, you know, and all those that want to put their hands up and do it, they don't have the skills to stick with it. And I think that's one of the things that I find really, you know, kind of sad, that we don't have enough skilled people to be in that sort of host level. Because like I'm surrounded by a lot of really cool people that I work with, like from cosplayers, right, down to actual writers who put out novels, to people who actually work in the community. And so, but they all have their own thing, and they're all busy their own thing. So sometimes it's hard to find someone who can oversee something like, you know, like the 2022 Kickstarter Awards for Aussie. So how does that happen with us in New Zealand? And I don't even know, you know, how it would work. But I'm quite humbled by the fact that, you know, that you guys are able to have this sort of amazing connection. And not only that, but you guys work together, right? I found that was quite interesting, that you guys actually work together to help each other get your help towards getting your campaign. And I'm learning a lot about how you guys do that. You know, I mean, hell, I mean, I'd love to have that set up for us as well, where there's like all our friends in New Zealand who are doing Kickstarter can come together and talk and say, hey, can you plug my book? Can you plug this book? I kind of am doing that with this thing, right? With this PlungeCast thing. I think we are kind of doing that, but not in an official capacity. I'm just doing it because I like doing it. You know, I like talking to people who are creative like yourself. You know, I get to enjoy talking about things that people are passionate about. And I'm really, because I'm someone who likes creating my own thing, I enjoy talking to people who are creating their own thing, you know, who are totally different from me, right? Who don't totally have beautiful ideas and create wonderful worlds that we can enjoy. And I think what you have done is amazing. I like the fact that all this artwork that's hand done, and also, you know, you talk about digital, but I mean, it is part of all what we're doing. And I think it's just such a joy to see that, man. I'm so excited to see that you've had, what is it, like 19? Did they all succeed, or did you have some that didn't?
They've all succeeded, yeah. I didn't think this one was going to succeed. Actually, I was freaking out because like it was middle of the campaign, was not doing well, and a lot of things impacted it. I think this is one thing that is actually changing with the Kickstarter platform that I've noticed is there's definitely more money spread out. And I'm not talking about amongst, like, I don't see you as competition, or I don't see any other indies as competition. We're all in it together, but there's definitely a lot more bigger names coming to the platform, and that's good. There's a positive,
which
and there's
I think like, it is both a plus and a negative, right? There's a minus.
Yeah,
because I think you got people who are very freaking successful, known international, coming into a place where they hate it. And here's the thing, I've followed this right over the last couple of years, that they despise independent creators, they despise Kickstarter, they despise Indiegogo, because it was beneath them. Yet here they are, a couple of years later, jumping on the bandwagon that independent creators like yourself have built up. And I find that kind of offensive, because they poo-pooed it, like, you know, as they say, and yet they want the benefits of the success now. And I think I find that really disgusting, to be honest, you know. And because when you've people like yourselves, right, like independent creators, have brought all this, you know, the magic of actually bringing comic books to this height, right?
We've all brought out audiences. So like I meet all these people.
That's it.
You know, I pay to go to comic conventions and meet hundreds of people, and you know, I've got a newsletter of 2,500 or 3,000 fans, or whatever it is, and I pay to get those people on my mailing list, and then Kickstarter gets those people, and those people, will back me, but then they're also conflicted whether they should back the next Marvel comic coming to Kickstarter or whatever it is.
I mean, what is the? I mean, my thing is like, listen, if you're a part of a freaking mainstream, that's your mainstream. We never will hardly get invited to that. This is, you know, Kickstarter for me is like us on the outside playing our game. No, the uninvited people to the team, right? We're the kid who's sitting on the friggin' stand that nobody wants to talk to, or nobody wants to play soccer or rugby, right? And but now that we've basically, built this thing, and I'm just coming to it, but like, and I've backed people as well, right? I've put out $250 on a project, right, in the past. So I have helped build, minor addition to it, but I've helped independent creators get to the stage to bring this platform to such a amazing height where people like Keanu Reeves can jump on, right? Or Boom Comics can just come in and take a piece of the action because, hey, but Boom Studios have been known for decades. Their brand is known. So why would they want to come and use a platform they despise and take the audience from that place now for themselves? I think that I find that kind of offensive. But hey, what you going to do, right? And
what
so I
can you
think
do? What can you do? You hope at the end of the day. I don't want to say anything bad about Kickstarter or anyone like that, but at the end of the day, Aru, the big thing is we don't know yet the flow-on effects. We don't know, has it brought people? Has it brought more people that will back us, or has it just brought people that, and the only thing that I see is with these big names, they've got like $100 tiers, $200 tiers. They don't really have anything at the low end, like for a $20 comic or anything like that. And so that makes you question, they're really there for the money. They're not there for long haul. And so I think like there are three, like if I look at this Kickstarter that I've just achieved now, yes, there's been a drop off. I'm not going to lie. Like I was funded, most of my past projects funded within 2 weeks,
Right.
But the true loyal fans that are, that have been with me for years, they're still there.
Yeah.
The 70, it'll probably be 100 fans by the end of it. Those 100 fans are great. I mean, when I get to 1,000, all you need, even Stephen King says it, all you need is 1,000 very loyal fans. So I'm a tenth of the way there. I just need another 90 years. That's all.
As a comic shop owner, right, and in business, 20% of the loyal support base pays for 80% of the income of the store, right?
Yeah.
So that 20% of loyal customers who come all the time to you actually pay 80% of the overall. And I think if that's, you're saying 1,000, right? So those 1,000 loyal people, who enjoy your work, who, wherever you go, you said you came to New Zealand. We'll talk about that for a bit. Coming over to different countries, having your work there, you're going to different shows, conventions, events to be there. You're building a network of people around you who are actually going to be, but like when you go big name, they just show up and people come without any work done, right? Because they're already out there. And I think, what has it been like to actually be at shows? And have you ever had someone who's actually backed you on your Kickstarter but has come to see you at your show?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Yeah,
that was quite an unusual experience. It was quite unusual because like this fan's like, I've seen this stuff before. Like they thought I was ripping off someone, like this guy on the internet, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's me. I'm Anthony Christou. I'm like, oh, you look older now. I'm like, yeah, that was the first. That's when I first started in Kickstarter 2015. That was 8 years ago, But it is that people just kind of blown away by it, So crazy. But it's good when you get fans that have bought your stuff on Kickstarter and they come and see you at a convention. People bringing stuff to sign, and sometimes people at conventions will back the Kickstarter. So straight away, people that will love your stuff if you've got a Kickstarter running at a comic convention, they will also come on board and back it and throw support on it as well. So
I think people, like, if you treat them well, they'll be with you. And sometimes it's like you're building a connection, not because just of a name. It's because there's a personal connection to it. And I think this is what independent creators do. They have a personal connection to their backers, right? It's not like, oh, just picked up a book off a shelf. Yeah, I'm going to read it, put it back on the shelf when I get home. Over. But because of being an independent creator, you're able to talk to you. You're able to see you talk about it. We're able to talk about very intricately about different things about the process of the book. I've noticed that, like, for me, this is my first time on Kickstarter properly, right? So, I mean, I pulled one of my projects off because I don't like the artwork that I had done for it. And, we did another one, but the COVID hit in 2020. And I just went, I just don't want the hassle of I don't have the energy for this right now. But the thing is with Kickstarter, right? You're talking, you're keeping them updated. You're inviting to like this, right? You're going, hey, I'm going to be on a podcast. Come and check me out. So people are coming to watch, and they get to see Anthony, right? The guy who actually created the work they're thinking about backing. And like, I noticed that like we've noticed even now, like somebody might come in, check us out, and go and back something. And I think it's the great thing about being an independent creator compared to be like out there working for the mainstream, is that you're able to make it, have that personal touch. And I think this is the joy of being independent, because you get to create your work and you get to hand it over to someone on a personal level, right? I mean, I someday, someday you'll get the invite to be that person, right? To show your work and you don't have to pay for the booth, right? Somebody else pays for it, and you're signing away. But right here, right now, you have this important connection to people in a personal way. And I thank you for that, man. I really understand about the business side of these things, and I think people, if they understood a bit more about the business side of things and how important each of these projects are. You've raised $260,000 over the last 8 years. A lot of that has gone to other people, right, and production and all that. And so that's paid for other people. And even if you didn't do this,
my mum even said to me, like, she goes, "Why are you doing Kickstarter again? That's not your money. You know that." She even knows, like, she's like, "You don't, and I go, "Well, Mum, it covers the cost of production of a book. I'm not going to make huge profits, but it covers this book to get out there and people have the chance to be published. You know what I mean? And that's what it's about, is like artists get a chance to get published. Even with the anthology, even Tavern of Dreams had short stories on there as well. So there was about 8 different writers that came on board, and I did the art for them. So you can see that that's some of the art that I did. And this is a short story here written by someone else. So we've got that's story by Joseph Jewis, So, and that was a way of, bringing this kind of anthology, I call it story anthology, was a great way, and we've had other writers, like I'll just show you another one here. The Kate Mandeloff, she's an Adelaide writer, and she did a story, and I did the artwork of this guy here, the Satya here, that's in the tavern. So all these people wrote stories about adventurers in the tavern and stuff. So,
well, I mean, that's the thing, right? That's what I was trying to get at. That you're actually helping other people get their name out, by sliding on with this, and into a project that you're doing. And I think if someone understands the process, understands the value of what they're doing and what you're doing, they are really good to work with, right? Because they understand the process. You'll find that some people just don't understand it, and then they don't understand why. Oh, why do I have to do this if I'm not going to get paid up front? It's kind of like weird. Like they don't understand that this is not how Kickstarter works. You've got a project out there, and you're hoping it gets fulfilled. You've got a track record of 18 that have been fulfilled, right? And here you are, and almost with this one at $11,000 plus, right? And to see that people out there will support Anthony, will support you is amazing, man. Someone who's just, who's worked hard to get this to this level of artwork, create fantasy worlds. That's awesome to see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you to say your piece, right? Whatever you want to do, your final work, put out all your, whatever you want to do. You have 3 to 5 minutes to say your piece, or whatever you want to do, and I'll put you on solo, and I'll let you do that.
Yeah, cool. So the comic Gobaloi, Goblin Origins, Goblins are Greek, on Kickstarter right now. We are close to funding, only $230 away. It has gorgeous artwork in it like this. I mean, I'm pretty biased, but it's probably my best comic book work ever that I've ever done with me and my team. And I'm going to be painting the rest of the book, finishing it all off. It's a 28-page book, 24 pages of sequential art, 4 pages of concept art, and I'm going to be. There's one announcement I'm going to make right now as well. In the last page, there's going to be a credit because of Kickstarter being so supportive in this book. This is going to be a credits page, and we're going to have everyone's name that backed the comic gets to be on that on the actual back of the book. So one whole page devoted to the backers, listing every single person's name in big type. So based on how much you've backed, your name will be bigger. And we're going to include that. We're announcing that tomorrow, lunchtime, but it'll be updated on the campaign. So it's a chance for you to get credited in my books, 28-page book. And put it simply, it's going to be the best comics I've done because it's the most recent one. It's the most detailed book. You're going to see Hercules throwing goblins around like they're playthings. You're going to see Dionysus drinking wine with goblins and dancing with them like David Bowie. You're going to see Hermes. You're going to see all sorts of cool Greek gods. You're going to see sea monsters. So this is Scylla, as I was showing her before. She's one of the monsters in one of the gods, actually. And you get to find out the 4th god in the comic book series, or 5th. I think we're up to the 7th now. Sorry, I've got my... I'll go back to it. Yeah, it's the 7th god in the series. So 6 gods have been revealed so far. And yeah, so if you like fantasy and comics, you're going to love this series. It's gotten 5-star reviews on Amazon. It's won multiple awards. And all I have to say is I'm going to be working my butt off to fulfill this by September, and working very late, doing many hours to make this the best comic book I've ever done. And I'm not giving up on comics, but I'm definitely going to need a bit of a break and focus back on the art. And I am writing the whole series after that. And then I have to determine, obviously, which book is going to come out next, which will go back to the Luminous Ages graphic novels. It's going to be called Luminous Dragons late next year, or probably 2025, if all goes to plan. And yeah, so this is going to be the most lush comic I've done to this date. So it's got that French, Italian, European style. If you like that sort of painterly vibe with comics, that's what I'm doing. It's a lot of work doing this. Alex Ross is one of my biggest influences and motivations. I look at his work and I'm like, I want to paint like that guy. So, and the whole idea is to, this deluxe comic, this 28-page book is going to be so colorful and vibrant and so detailed. I'm not taking a break from comics, but it's going to be a while before another book comes out. So I'm going to really enjoy the next 6 weeks painting the last 15 pages. So we've done about 10 already, and we're going to do another 14 pages, 14 to 15. And yeah, so that's about it. Hopefully see you on there. We've got dice. Don't forget, there's goblin dice. Lots of fun. And thank you very much for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Cool. Right. So in finishing, I want to thank you, Anthony, for coming on board. I want to thank Stephen for bringing us together. And I just want to let you know, man, if you're into, games and stuff, if you're into, fantasy worlds, that's what you want to check out, because this is the 4th book. And of course, 18, 19 successful Kickstarters, right? Fulfilled. And I think that's awesome, because you've got a track record, and people like track records, right? They like to see success. So talking about that, please also, if you're into, this is for your kids and stuff, all ages comic book we got coming out. This is our first one. This is Incredi-Girl. This is the alternate cover, variant cover. We're only active for $900. That's it. That's just data, right? To pay the artist and whatever, get these books out to you. So thank you for that. For those guys that are actually backing that, we appreciate it. And I want to thank, everybody who's watching. Please back our comic books, back Anthony's book. And thank you, Anthony, for joining us tonight. And everybody else, wherever you are, be well. Ka kite anō. See you next time. And please like and subscribe. I always forget to say that. And share our videos, because the more people see it, the more we get to show what we've got coming out, and the more support we can get for our artists. And you know, that's what you need. Lots of support for our artists. So thank you, everybody. Ka kite anō. See you next time. Farewell. Did you want to say anything else in parting, Anthony?
No, thank you very much again for having me on, and yeah, I appreciate you. I did back your project as well, so
joy. Thank you so much, mate. I appreciate that.
No worries.
Awesome. Catch you guys later.